everybody, my name is Helen, and I'm finally back. I know it's been a while. Yeah, I have no excuse, really. I mean, things were kind of hectic with exams and whatever, but really I just needed to take a bit of a break from booktubing for a little while so that I could concentrate on some stuff with my family. I already recorded my November wrap-up, so I'm going to insert that here. So I did not read a whole lot in the month of November, and that was because of two reasons. One was because I started at a new job and they had me pretty much full-time for the first couple weeks to get me trained, and then also NaNoWriMo was a thing, and it was a very, very intense thing. And out of the books that I did read, the majority of them are graphic novels, and the three books that I did read that are full-length novels, every single one of them I listened to on audiobook. Let's dive right into these, shall we? So the first book that I did read in the month of November was Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, and I found this in my library and I was so excited because everyone loves this graphic novel, and I can totally understand why. It was super eerie, super creepy, really, really interesting. The art style in this is just gorgeous, and I just really enjoyed a lot of these stories. And I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. The second book that I read in November was the first audiobook that I read, and that was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which I listened to on Playaway from my library. My library was my friend this month. My library was very much my friend. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which is a very magical and whimsical story. Oh, I have to sit up so straight for this. It's killing my back. Yes, I absolutely loved this book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I did try to film a review for it, but I couldn't physically speak the words in my head about how much I liked this book, so it didn't end up being a thing, but I really, really enjoyed this book. Like I said, 5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommend it. Please go pick it up, and if you have read it, please talk to me about it. Like, I need to talk to someone about this book. The third book that I read in the month of November was the graphic novel version of Jane Eyre, and for those of you who've been around on my channel for a while, you'll know that I had to read Jane Eyre last year for a class, and I enjoyed it. While I enjoyed the story, I wasn't a big fan of the book itself, so I thought maybe the graphic novel would be better, and I felt about the same way about it. I enjoyed the story, but I didn't enjoy, I don't know. I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars. I can't remember if I gave the book 2 or 3 out of 5 stars, but it was somewhere around there. So it didn't make a huge difference for me, although this was a lot easier to read. After reading Jane Eyre, I did pick up a very, very different book, which was my second audiobook of the month, which was Binge by Tyler Oakley, and I don't have a physical copy of it because I actually listened to it on my phone while I was on my way to and from work, because I have a 40-minute commute to and from every day, so grand total of like an hour and 20 minutes. Binge was so much fun. I recently discovered Tyler Oakley, which I know must sound ridiculous, but I've known about him for a long time. I just never watched any of his videos, and I started watching his videos right when the book cover trailer thing for Binge came out, and I loved it, and I wanted to read Binge so badly, and I ended up really, really enjoying it. Tyler is just hysterical. His sense of humor appeals to me on such a deep level, and having him read the book was just perfect. It was like having a conversation with him, and it was marvelous. I ended up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I understand why some people aren't enjoying it as much, but for me it was perfect. It was exactly what I was looking for. After Binge, I picked up my next audiobook, which is one that was long in coming. I should have read this book series a long, long time ago, but I finally picked up the first book, Percy Jackson and the Lightning. Really? Really? Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. And this was so much fun. I have a deep, deep love of Greek mythology, so this was just perfect for me on that front. I really liked Percy as a character. I really like Annabeth. I liked the prophecy and how that worked in. I just thought this was fantastic, and I cannot wait to read the rest of the series. I might keep listening to them on audiobook, but I'm not sure. I did give it 4 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read in the month of November was The Red Sea, and this is by Rick Remender, who you may remember wrote The Delirium of Hope, which I really, really enjoyed when I read it last month. So I picked up this one hoping I would like it, and I just
didn't at all. I gave it 1 out of 5 stars, which is so not like me. I just didn't enjoy it at all. And the last book that I picked up in the month of November was Fear Itself, The Fearless from Marvel. I wasn't 100% sold on this. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't as good as other graphic novels / comic book series that I've read.
And now I'm going to do my December wrap-up. So the first book that I did finish, I think on like the 1st or the 2nd of December, was Winter by Marissa Meyer. This is just the dust jacket. My roommate is borrowing Winter since it's the book that she's on in the series and she's been waiting to read it. And I really, really liked this. I had a couple of problems with it in terms of some of the pacing in certain places. I felt like it was a little bit too long, but I still enjoyed it. And I ended up giving this 5 stars on Goodreads, but it was more of like a 4.5 stars. The next book that I read was Captain Marvel, Book 1, and this was awesome. I wanted to learn more about Captain Marvel since we are getting a movie about her, so I wanted to get to know more about her, and I love her. She is fantastic. I ended up giving this 5 out of 5 stars. Like, go check out Captain Marvel, guys. After that, I picked up the graphic novel version of Coraline by Neil Gaiman, and I have listened to this book in the past. I listened to the audiobook, which was read by Neil Gaiman, and absolutely loved it. I've seen the movie, which made me want to read the book. Loved it. And my library had this, so I had to go pick it up, and it was awesome. It's just as good as the audiobook. The art style in it is fabulous. 5 out of 5 stars. After that, I picked up Houdini, the Handcuff King by Jason Lutz and Nick Bertozzi. And this just tells the story of Houdini's great escape when he jumped off of the bridge into the water and had to get himself out of handcuffs and everything, and how his wife helped him do it. It was really, really interesting to actually know how he did the trick, but it wasn't the most gripping graphic novel. It's really short and really quick to read. I did enjoy it. I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars. After that, I picked up Saga Volume 4, and I loved it. I can't go into this too much, obviously, because it's the 4th installment in a series, but something happened in this that was, like, hurting me physically. It was so hard to deal with, and I loved it. I can't remember if I gave this 4 or 5 stars, maybe 4.5. I'm gonna go with 4.5, because that's right in the middle. After that, I read Chopsticks by Jessica Anthony and Rodrigo Corral, and this book was going around on BookTube when I first started, so this would have been back in like 2013 or early 2014. And it's a book told almost entirely in pictures. There's very little text, but it's just an amazing story. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. If you guys haven't checked this out yet, you totally should. It's definitely worth it. Then while I was home for Christmas break, I brought some graphic novels with me to read on the bus ride, and the first one was Twilight Volume 1. This is like the first half-ish of Twilight, and I've been wanting to reread the story for a while, but I didn't want to reread the book because it's so big, and I just wasn't in the mood for that. So this seemed like a really good alternative, and I did still enjoy it, although certain things about their relationship really popped up at me with how messed up some of it is. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. But I still really enjoyed the story. I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars, and I want to pick up Volume 2. And then after that, I picked up Chew Volume 2 by John Layman and Rob Guillory. And Volume 2 of Chew, if you don't know, then Chew follows a guy who, when he eats things, he can see its entire life, so he's recruited by this special department of the government to be a detective, and he has to taste stuff and help them solve mysteries. And this book just got deeper and more insane, and I really, really enjoyed it. Again, I can't remember if I gave it 4 or 5 stars. I'm thinking it was 4. After that, I read Frey by Joss Whedon, Carl Maline, and Andy Owens. This is a standalone graphic novel about a girl named Malaka Frey, and she is the chosen one, and she has to defeat some vampire-like creatures. There are some twists and turns in here. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. It was nice to read a graphic novel on its own that's complete from beginning to end, because I had never done that. I ended up giving this 4 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I read this month was Steampunk, an anthology of fantastically rich and strange stories edited by Kelly Link and Gavin J. Grant. And this is an anthology of short stories that all have to do with some steampunk type stuff. And it was really entertaining, really good. I enjoyed quite a few of the stories in here. I really liked Cassie Clare's story, which is right at the beginning. Libby Bray's story was really good. And I think I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. So, those are all the books that I read in December. What did you guys read, and have you read any of the books I mentioned in this video? If so, what did you think of them? Let me know in the comments down below. I do respond to every comment on my videos, and I absolutely love hearing from you. And I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!